The rain is streaming in tonight, and over 100 millimeters may fall in some areas by Wednesday evening. We'll talk about the rainy Newfoundland forecast, the snowy Labrador forecast, and the wind part of this system after I thank tonight's forecast sponsor, Venture Credit Union. Venture Credit Union is currently offering a 4.99% promotional rate on loans for vehicles, power sports, and more. Please see one of our branches in Glovertown, Twillingate, Gambo, or Catalina for details. Visit venturecu.ca. Satellite and radar imagery from across the region shows the rain already streaming in this evening, coming up from the maritime provinces and further coming up from almost the tropics, as we're looking at a very large trough settling in across the eastern side of North America. You can see snow almost in Atlanta this evening, very unusual for the time of year. The jet stream has a huge dip in it, sending the cold air south and the warm air surging north on the eastern side of it, or on the ridge side of this wave, if you will. And we can see that very nicely here. 15 degrees in Halifax at this hour. It's 1 degree in Atlanta, Georgia. Pittsburgh, I'm not a Penguins fan, -1 there right now. Meanwhile, it's 2 degrees in St. John's, but temperatures are going to warm up significantly as the moisture moves in. And we can see the moisture now coming up from the Caribbean, being directed at the maritime provinces, but sliding eastward. And this moisture, an atmospheric river, if you will, is going to be pointed right at southern Newfoundland for almost the next 48 hours. And that's going to result in some very impressive rainfall totals. Now we take a look at how all this plays out between now and Wednesday. So here we are this evening, 7 p.m. The rain is to our southwest. Snow already arrived in western parts of Labrador. Parts of Lab West are going to see significant snowfall overnight, potentially upwards of 30 centimeters in areas like Lab City and Walbush and into Shefferville, Quebec. Into Labrador in the north, we're also going to be looking at some significant snowfall overnight. Between the snow and the rain, we're going to see an area of freezing rain in Eagle River. In fact, a freezing rain warning is in effect for that area for tonight. Further south on the island, the rain gets going overnight, and by tomorrow morning it's raining heavily for much of the island, but particularly along the south coast and up to the Green Bay, White Bay area and parts of the west coast, and potentially even into the lower north shore of Quebec and the Straits of Labrador. By midday tomorrow, we have a fire hose of rain being directed at southern Newfoundland. We could be seeing hours of rainfall rates over 10 millimeters per hour. That's a lot of rain in potentially a short period of time. Away from the south coast, it might not rain that heavily tomorrow, but it's going to be a damp day and a breezy day at that, especially during the second half of the day. Meanwhile, in Labrador, by tomorrow evening, there's not a whole lot on the go. That's not going to last. An area of low pressure develops tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning that will enhance the rainfall totals for western Newfoundland tomorrow night, and that will bring a redevelopment of the snow in Labrador by Wednesday morning. The Goose Bay area looks like rain, but Churchill Falls, Churchill Valley up into the north could be seeing very heavy snowfall rates come Wednesday morning, and that may persist through much of Wednesday as the low deepens and slowly traverses out of Labrador. In fact, it could still be snowing in some areas by 8 p.m. Wednesday evening. Meanwhile, much of the rain in Newfoundland is done with by Wednesday morning. The cold air comes in Wednesday afternoon, and parts of western Newfoundland may see rain changing over to snow flurries or snow squalls during the second half of the day on Wednesday as other areas further east begin to clear out. So what are we talking about rainfall-wise for the island? Well, the rainfall warning in effect from Corner Brook down through Bay St. George, Port aux Basques, and as far east as the Avalon Peninsula. What's the forecast look like is probably your next question. Well, let's talk about that. Rainfall amounts for southern Newfoundland from the Avalon to the Port aux Basques area are going to total more than 100 millimeters in some areas where you see those purples. Forecast for Port aux Basques by Wednesday midday is 99 millimeters of rain, over 100 in the forecast for Harbor Breton area and some places just west of the Canaveral Peninsula. Same thing for the Burin Peninsula, 50 to 100 there, and 50 to 100 for southern areas of the Avalon. As we go further north, the rainfall amounts aren't nearly as impressive. Next question might be, how likely is this? Well, we can look at the odds or chances of seeing more than 50 millimeters of rain. And once you get away from the south coast, go east, west, north, those chances are a little bit less, but there are a couple areas where it does seem very likely. Southern Newfoundland, 100% chance. Parts of southeastern Labrador, also a 90 to 100% chance. But as you go further north and east, again, those chances aren't as strong. So yes, the southern Avalon may see 50 millimeters of rain, but more than that looks unlikely there. What about those 100 millimeter totals? Well, if we are going to see those, same thing. It looks like along the south coast west of Conagra into the Port aux Basques area. Could be just inland a bit, but if we're going to see those amounts, that's where it's going to be, and it's going to be very, very significant. Next order of business is the wind. Western Newfoundland, you'll see wind from like tonight to potentially Wednesday, although the direction will vary from east overnight and tomorrow, shifting west as we go into Wednesday. Areas like Trout River, Lark Harbor, Norris Point, Woody Point, areas that are prone to enhanced southeasterlies, you're going to see winds gusting over 100 on and off for the next 24 hours or so. Areas of eastern Newfoundland, Avalon Peninsula, Bonavista Peninsula, Bonavista North, we're going to see our winds, it looks like tomorrow night into early Wednesday, and it looks like a 6 to 8 hour period of winds gusting between 80 and 100 kilometers per hour. So nothing like what we just went through, but still windy nonetheless. Port aux Basques, Wreck House area, winds as of this evening, as of 8:19, gusting 96. They may gust as high as 130 late tonight and tomorrow morning. A Wreck House wind warning is in effect through Wednesday morning, and the winds are going to peak in the area. It looks like around 2 or 3 a.m. Again, possibly as high as 130 in some areas of the kind of Wreck House wind region, which is like Wreck House, Starlight, parts of the Cardroy Valley. Certainly keep that in mind, but the winds will kind of quickly or swiftly back off once we get through the morning hours tomorrow. Now across the rest of Newfoundland, here's the wind speeds. All right, so we go through the day tomorrow. Sure, it's breezy for a lot of areas. Again, favored locations of the west coast. This is where we're going to see those really high wind speeds, gusting over 100. Cowhead, Corner Brook, not so much. It's Trout River, Lark Harbor, kind of the areas right along the coast. By Tuesday evening, 6 p.m., it's not super windy. You might be wondering, talking about the wind, where is it? Well, watch what happens by midnight. By midnight, we've got a gust in Bonavista to 89. We're gusting 77 in Marystown, Grand Bank, Harbor Breton gusting close to 80. So certainly gusty there. St. John's gusting 76 at that point. It's once we get to 2, 3 a.m., those winds are going to peak. Notice at that point in Bonavista, wind gust forecast to be 100 kilometers per hour. St. John's 89. This is not like the 150, 160 stuff we saw over southern areas last week, but it's still breezy. It's a good breeze nonetheless, and those winds will kind of quickly ramp down as we go through Wednesday, but again, Wednesday is going to be breezy. Okay, moving into Labrador. Rainfall warning in the south. This is a lot to talk about here tonight. Rainfall warning in the south for the Red Bay to Lanticlair area for rainfall amounts potentially upwards of 50 or 60 millimeters. So even though Labrador is going to see some snow, we're also talking about some rain between later tonight and tomorrow. Now, Goose Bay, 30, 40 millimeters of rain, potentially. Makkovik, Cartwright, Nain, somewhere in that range as well on top of the snow. Going to be a very damp weather maker. Again, the moisture from this coming up from the tropics. But there's that forecast for Lanceloup, close to 60 millimeters. But look at the forecast there for the lower north shore of Quebec. Very significant rainfall on the way there. And as we zoom in a little bit more, again, looks like just east of Lanceloup, we may be seeing some higher pockets. But once you get north, where you get away from the terrain-enhanced rainfall, rainfall amounts aren't that impressive. Port Hope Simpson, 26 millimeters. Snowfall-wise, this is going to be a little more impressive. Snowfall warning up for Nain, Churchill Valley, Churchill Falls, Lab City, Walbush. Special weather statement for Upper Lake Melville for snow in the higher terrain around the area, around Northwest River, around the valley. Not so much down in Goose Bay itself. Or Northwest River, or Sheshatshiu. So certainly keep that in mind. It's in the higher terrain as you go outside of the town. Now we go east, freezing rain warning for Eagle River. Again, that's for tonight into tomorrow morning for several hours of freezing rain. Snowfall amounts. We're going to get 2 rounds of snow in Labrador. One comes in tonight through about midday tomorrow or sooner. After the snow stops tomorrow, it's not going to be too bad of a day in much of Labrador. 40 centimeters in Lab West in the forecast, 18 in Churchill Falls, Shefferville 25, but only 1 in Hopedale. But again, the high train will see some, probably a little more up in Voices, and then 12 centimeters the forecast in Nain. Now, that's round 1. Round 2 moves in early Wednesday. You can see it just starting there by Wednesday morning. And look at the forecast total for Churchill Falls. 5 a.m. Wednesday, 20 centimeters. Look, by 8 p.m. Wednesday, 41 centimeters. So potentially another 20 centimeters of snow on the way for Wednesday in areas of western Labrador. Even the north may pick it up, but it looks like it's going to be right now west of the coast. The thing about these quickly intensifying lows, which we're going to see in Labrador Wednesday, the placement of them is oftentimes not perfect. So a little bit west, a little bit east will obviously play a role in the forecast, and maybe the Goose Bay area will see a little snow later Wednesday. Oftentimes you do on the kind of wraparound situation as the snow kind of moves in on the back end as the cold air really kind of fills in as the low pulls away. So something to kind of watch, but that's what it looks like right now. All right, so for tonight, on the island, lows of 1 to 3 in Labrador, near or below freezing. That warm air talked about, that comes in for tomorrow. Many areas of southern Newfoundland getting into the teens. You bet there's going to be fog along the south coast in Labrador tomorrow, highs of 3 to 6. Likely fog along the coast as well as the snow changes over to rain for some areas. Then we look at the forecast for Wednesday. I also know that says Saturday, forecast with lowercase t. That should say Tuesday, so my apologies there. I did catch that, but a little late. We look at the forecast for Wednesday on the island. That one's right, of course. Temperature 7 to 10 degrees, but cooling off on the west coast, where again the snow begins to move in. In Labrador on Wednesday, we see the cold air coming back in north and west again with that secondary area of low pressure. Thursday's forecast for Newfoundland. If one low wasn't enough, another one moves in for Thursday. More rain for eastern Newfoundland looks to be on the way, and it could be significant amounts of that. We'll kind of worry about that one tomorrow. And then we look at the forecast for Labrador for Thursday and Friday, and it's cooler with a chance of rain and snow. It looks like returning for parts of Labrador, maybe eastern areas. The Goose Bay area looks like Friday. Rain in the south Friday, and more snow potentially in the west. It is that time of year. Remembrance Day ceremonies tomorrow if you are heading out to those. Obviously, get ready to be on the wetter side because it looks like it is going to be raining and windy. I'll post an hourly forecast for that for the St. John's area here this evening, not too long from now. So if you're watching this, check my socials for that. In the meantime, have a very good Monday evening. My next forecast update will be tomorrow morning. May not be super early, but it will be tomorrow morning. Either way, have a good evening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe.